Welcome back to Z-Speed and thanks for tuning back in. Today we'll be installing an Ark Extreme Exhaust on our 10th Gen Civic SI. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, just stay tuned. I know there's a lot of exhaust systems out there for the 10th Gen Civic SI, and you're probably wondering why I chose the Ark exhaust system for my Civic SI, and that's because this is my daily driver. So I was looking for an exhaust system that had a nice aggressive tone, but I didn't want a lot of drone on the freeway. And let me tell you, this Ark exhaust system really does check all the boxes when it comes to an aggressive tone without all that drone. So this exhaust system is the one for you if you're going to be placing this on your daily driver. So let's go ahead and find out what's in the box. What's in the box? It's okay, bro. It's not that bad. You're gonna like it. I promise you. You're gonna like this. So you can see it's really great packaging. Everything's nice and safe. Got some really good wrap here to keep the pipe safe. You got your tips right here. Under here, we're gonna open that. Here's your hardware right there. So we're looking good here. We're looking real good. Now, this is one of the more pricier exhaust systems out there. I paid just around $1,300 and I purchased it from Edge Autosport, so I'll leave a link below. But you can see you're getting some high quality welds here. This is a beautiful little flange that hooks to the front pipe of your car here, and the welds are looking excellent here. So this is high quality stainless steel with some beautiful TIG welding going on here in 3-inch pipe. You can see this resonator even has the Ark logo stamped right into it. So that's a nice little touch right there. So you're definitely getting your money's worth here, but it is a little bit pricey. And here's my favorite part, the burnt blue tips. They just look incredible. You've got the Ark logo welded into the bracing here, and these TIG welds are all looking spectacular. So this is definitely a nice setup. Honey, 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 honey. So let's get started on the install. You're going to have the front and the rear of the car elevated. You can see I'm going to try something different here. I'm going to use ramps in the front, and then we're going to switch to jack stands in the rear, but you can use all 4 jack stands or whatever method you want, but you will have to get the entire car off the ground so you'll have some room to maneuver underneath the car. Now, the good news about the rear is there's some easy access, little points to place your floor jack. Here's one. There's one on either side of the exhaust here, and these things are very sturdy. So yeah, either side you want to choose. You can see I'm currently running a muffler delete, which sounds pretty good, and we'll do some sound comparisons later. But yeah, just get the entire car off the ground so we'll have some room to get underneath the car. Okay, we're going to start at the front of the car, and for reference, this is the stock mid pipe right here, and this is the stock exhaust system heading down towards the front pipe. So that's called the front pipe up here that hooks to the down pipe on the engine, and this got 3 17mm bolts holding this flange on here. And to access this, we're going to need to remove part of this undershroud, and there's just 4 10mm bolts. So there's one, here's another one, and here are the other 2. And then we have 2 push pins underneath the wheel well. one on this side and one on the opposite side. So not very hard at all to loosen this undershroud up, and then you'll have a lot better access to those 3 17mm bolts holding the front pipe to the exhaust system here. So definitely go ahead and hit some PB Blaster or spray it with some PB Blaster or liquid wrench. I did have a little difficulty. I thought I could do it without it, but no, I had to spray it with some PB Blaster and then come back after about 10 or 15 minutes and I was able to break it loose. I also had to use some more leverage with my extension here. You can see I've got a nice little extension, probably about 10 to 12 inch extension, and I had to add my jack handle on the end of my breaker bar here to get these to break loose. It wasn't super hard, I've had worse, but yeah, the leverage does help. So if you've got a jack handle, throw that on the top of your breaker bar and it should make quick work of these 3 bolts. And once you get them, this is the harder bolt, this one underneath at the very bottom. The angle's a little weird, so it's a little bit hard to access this bolt right here, but you can do it. I was able to get it. I just had to struggle with it for a second, and then I was able to get it and then break it loose. Okay, now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and move to the hangers. There's a total of 7 hangers if you're running a stock setup. Mine's only got 5 hangers because I'm running a muffler delete. And what I'm doing now is lubricating all my hangers with 303 Aerospace Protectant, or you can use Armor All. I wouldn't recommend oil products like WD-40 because it will damage the rubber over time. And I like to preserve my hangers, keep them around as long as possible. And oil will speed up the decay of rubber products. So that's why I'm using 303 here, and I've just doused the heck out of it. And now I'm going to start working the hanger back and forth and try to break it loose. It doesn't take too much effort actually to get this thing loose. Once you get it broken loose, you can just spin it down, and we're going to move towards the rear of the car now. So this is the hanger that's close to the resonator, as you can see right here. And now we're going to move to the back of the car. Okay, so since I'm running the muffler delete, I'll have 4 hangers. If you're running the stock, you'll have a total of 6 left. But we're gonna basically work our way towards the rear of the car, remove the hangers from the mid pipe that we just did, or resonator. Now we're next removing these 2 hangers right here, and then we'll end up at the very tip with these last 2 right here. So, and we're gonna do it in that order, and it really does help if you do it in this order. Currently I've still got the muffler flange attached at the front pipe without the nuts. Remember, we removed those earlier and they're just hanging on the studs right now. So we're gonna leave it like that. Okay, next up are the 2 hangers that are attached kind of next to the rear suspension right here, or just above the lower control arm. These are a lot easier to remove than the last hanger that was by the resonator. Different configuration here, a lot more simple to slide off, so that's the good news. Really quick and easy to slide these off. And now all we have left are the 2 hangers that are holding up the tip of the exhaust. Okay, these last 2 hangers are the same configuration as the one by the resonator, which makes them a little more difficult to remove. Once you remove one, then you're going to have to brace the muffler with your other hand, or have someone else hold the muffler up while you remove this final hanger. It's going to want to drop down a little bit with the muffler delete here. It's not nearly as heavy as the stock configuration, but I was able to easily just ease it on down here by myself. You may need someone else helping you out if you're running the stock configuration. So what I didn't show is, as I was easing the exhaust down, I kind of pulled forward, which released the flange from the front pipe. So you didn't get to see that on film, but it wasn't very difficult. And of course, if you have help, then it'll be easy to have someone just hold the front of the exhaust and pull it off as you're pulling the rear of the exhaust, but you can do it by yourself. So now we can go ahead and slide the old exhaust out of the way and get ready to install the new exhaust system. Since our new exhaust system comes in 3 separate parts, we'll be installing the part that attaches to the front pipe first, and we will be reusing all of our old hangers, so make sure you remove all those from your old exhaust system. Now, the Ark exhaust system utilizes a gasket between the front pipe and the exhaust. So luckily that's supplied with the muffler. And now you can go ahead and place the gasket over the 3 studs. Just make sure that you press this gasket completely flush onto the front pipe. It kind of hangs on the studs a little bit, so you need to kind of press around each stud to make sure it's nice and flush with the front pipe. Okay, what I didn't show was I went ahead and placed the hanger onto this section of the exhaust, and now all I'm going to do is just mate the flange with the studs on the front pipe, and it was very easy to do. This was not difficult at all. Once I got it lined up nice and straight on there, and I kind of pressed it on to the front pipe, I went ahead and lined up my hanger and placed it onto the little stud that was hanging out of there, and bam, that was super simple. And now all we have to do is take our 3 17mm nuts and place them onto the studs, and we're just going to loosely tighten them. We're not going to tighten them too much. Okay, we'll be utilizing 2 clamps to hold this exhaust system together. So I went ahead and loosened up this clamp and slid over this area by the resonator right here. And now we're ready to install this second piece of the exhaust system. It just slides right in. This is definitely not difficult at all. I will be utilizing a zip tie to hold the other end up until we place the tips on, but it's pretty simple. So go ahead and get your clamp hanging up there, and we can go ahead and slide this piece of the exhaust in. These last 2 sections of the exhaust system should slide in to each other pretty easily. You shouldn't really have to manhandle anything to get them to slide together. So if you do, there's something going on wrong, you just take a closer look at it. But it didn't take me much time at all to get this thing to slide in to that part where the resonator is. It wasn't difficult at all, so take your time, make sure it's lined up correctly before you start jamming anything together. It should slide in pretty simply. So now you can see I've got a very large zip tie here to hold this end of the exhaust up, so I don't have to clamp anything together yet because I'm using this zip tie, and it keeps everything up there nice and sturdy. Okay, now I'm placing on the final piece, the tips. And remember I talked about how it should all slide together fairly easily. Well, I actually had to work at this piece, so it didn't just readily slide in like I was talking about earlier with the other piece. I had to actually tilt it sideways and kind of rotate it in, but I finally did get it to engage. Hopefully you won't have to actually bend the flange or anything that aggressive, but you know, if you have to, you have to. But I did get it to spin in. Supposedly at the factory they already pre-tested this, so they should fit together. So don't get upset if it doesn't slide in right away. Kind of work on it a little bit, take your time, don't damage anything. So now I've got it to finally engage. Now I'm going to go ahead and place these 2 hangers on here, and that was no problem at all. Just kind of push up on the exhaust and you can line up the hangers, and then you can go ahead and once you get these 2 placed, you can go ahead and line up the 2 for the tips. Okay, now that we've got the thing loosely placed together, we're going to check the tip placement, and this tip placement is perfect right out of the box. This thing looks incredible, lines up perfectly. I didn't have to adjust anything to make the tips look straight. It just came out perfect right off the bat. So this is definitely a high quality exhaust here. Now that we know the tip placement's okay, we're going to go ahead and loosely place these 2 bands that hold the exhaust system together into place. So what you want to do is position them the way you want the bolts to face, and then now we're going to go ahead and just lightly tighten them. You also want to leave just a tiny bit of clearance around the edge. You don't want to line it up right to the edge. You want just a little bit protruding out from the band. I think it'll just give you a better seal if you do that. So go ahead and line up your bands and then loosely tighten both of them. So before I completely tightened the bands, I went ahead and tightened the 3 17mm nuts to the flange at 25 foot-pounds. I really couldn't find any decent torque specs. Found between 25 and 33 foot-pounds, so I just went with 25, and it seemed to be pretty good. So now, after that, I went ahead and tightened down the bands just hand tight, and now I've got the engine on, and I'm just checking for leaks. So you want to go down around each band and between the front pipe where it joins up to this part of the exhaust. You want to go ahead and put your hand around it before it gets too hot. Of course, you don't want to burn your hand, but just check for leaks to make sure that you don't have any. With 25 foot-pounds, I did not feel any leaks whatsoever right around that front pipe flange. So that's the good news. And then I went ahead and checked the for air leaks right around these 2 bands. No problems at all with that. I didn't go crazy when I torqued those down. I just kind of hand tightened them. You might want to run it for a couple days and then go back and double check these 2 bands to make sure that they're still nice and tight. But I'm not feeling any leaks, and all I did was hand tighten it to where it just felt snug. So I didn't have any torque specs for those either. I didn't actually get any directions with this exhaust system, believe it or not, but you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. So just check for leaks at this point. If you feel any, just tighten it down a little bit more and you should be fine. Okay, so we're going to do a cold start with my muffler delete setup, and we're going to compare it to our Ark exhaust. Sounds pretty good, even got some pops. Okay, now we're ready for a cold start, so let's give it a try. Okay, so we're at this point, we're just on some back streets. And let's get a little, listen to the tone here. Nice low tone, deep tone. Sounds great. I mean, it sounds good. Clean, no rasp, low. Got just a slight bit of a almost vibration. I mean, it's just so low. It's incredible. So in conclusion, I'm going to say this is one of the better daily driver exhaust systems out there for the 10th Gen Civic SI platform right now. I definitely don't have any regrets installing this on my Civic. Really enjoying it. So if you enjoyed the install, don't forget to give me a big old fat thumbs up. And until next time, you know what to do. Just keep on repairing.